Who's getting relegated this weekend? Leeds or Burnley? It's a straight shootout between Leeds and Burnley on Premier League final day this Sunday. Both sides are tied on 35 points, but Leeds are a huge 20 behind in the goal difference stakes. Leeds visit 11th placed Brentford. Burnley host 12th placed Newcastle. Remember, that goal difference gap basically means that a Burnley win will guarantee them survival. So have a look at the two sides, try and figure out who's in better form. And remember, both of these clubs got shot of beloved managers in the run-in. Leeds sacked iconic boss Marcelo Bielsa on February 27th. At that point, they had 23 points from 26 games. That's 0.88. They did have a little short splurge under Jesse March from mid-March, and his points per game is better than Bielsa's at 1.09. The recent run is, however, not great for Leeds. Got one win in 7, which came over already relegated Watford. We should say they did have a run of Manchester City, Arsenal and Chelsea in a row in there. Also concerning is the discipline at the moment. Red cards in 2 recent games and 100 yellow cards, which is pretty much 25% higher than the nearest team. Burnley got rid of Sean Dyche on the 16th of April. At that point, they had 24 points from 30 games. So that's 0.8 points per game. A giant 9 points behind Leeds at that point, but with 2 games in hand. Caretaker boss Mike Jackson has given Burnley a big spike they were after. 11 points in 7 games. Short sample, but it's 1.57 points per game and nearly double what Sean Dyche's output was. Jackson also won Premier League Manager of the Month award for April. Looking at all those very recent numbers, if the final day was only decided by recent short-term momentum, you'd probably have things going Burnley's way. Before we look at both sides' opponents, please take 1 second to hit the like button, support the video and the channel. So let's focus on those opponents then. Leeds away at Brentford, Burnley at home to Newcastle. There's almost a bit of a feel-good factor at both of those clubs, with their mid-table position probably something to be proud of in context and considering where both clubs have come from. Since March the 5th, only Liverpool, Man City and Spurs have scored more Premier League points than Brentford, and the Bees' points per game is actually better than Spurs. So in that time, in terms of points per game, only Man City and Liverpool have been better. Also at home, Brentford have only lost 1 in 6. And in the other 5 games in that 6-game run, kept clean sheets in all of them. No goals conceded. Burnley's opponents, Newcastle, can boast an even longer period of good form, with only Liverpool having scored more Premier League points since way back on January the 22nd. There is a but here though, because across the season Newcastle have been nearly twice as good at home as they have away from home. They've lost 4 of their last 5 away games as they head to this clash at Burnley. I'm really struggling to try and figure out which opponent is more difficult and which one I would rather play. Both sides neck and neck on points in the Premier League table. Perhaps Newcastle have a little bit more individual star quality and a longer run of good form, but Brentford are better at home than Newcastle are away from home. Both sides also have sort of significant former players to face as well. Leeds are going to come up against Pontus Jansson, and Burnley may well face a returning Chris Wood. Let me know in the comments which opponent you would rather be taking on. Leeds will no doubt travel to Brentford with big and noisy support, but on the pitch they'll be without suspended Luke Ayling and Dan James. Stuart Dallas is now a long-term injury as well, and of course the season's big miss, Patrick Bamford, won't be about. Burnley's Matt Lowton got red-carded at Villa, so he'll be suspended. He wasn't a starter in that game though. Long-term absentees Vidra, Goodmanson and Westwood won't be about. Tarkowski returned at Villa in that last game. Ben Mee and Jay Rodriguez didn't return, but could return at the weekend, trying to fish through the words from the last Burnley press conference. It should be said that in terms of freshness, of course, Burnley are finishing the season with a 3-game week and Leeds aren't. So what's going to happen then? Well, the situation is that Leeds need to better Burnley's results. So destiny is to a certain extent in Burnley's hand. If they win, they survive, barring some ludicrous, near impossible 20-goal swing, of course. Burnley are at home. Leeds are away. As a general, very simplistic, non-nuanced rule, I'd rather play at home. But I have seen Elland Road and the expectation weigh very heavy on Leeds players before, and they've won no more games at home than they have away from home this season. So who knows? Will that even matter? Could the final day be decided by individual star power? Maybe someone like Rafinha or Cornet going ahead and winning the game? Or will it be more like sheer durability, bloody-mindedness, and just not losing the game? It's the final day. Look, crazy things can happen, so I wouldn't be surprised with either outcome. Both teams could go, both teams could survive. We know that. But gun to my head right now, given everything we've said and throwing in durability in a one-off game and the respective defensive records perhaps, I think I'd rather be Burnley going into this weekend. Get involved down there in the comments. Let me know how you see this playing out. As usual, I'd much rather discuss what your brain and your head thinks is going to happen rather than what your emotions and your heart hope is going to happen. If Leeds do drop, I wonder how that decision to remove Marcelo Bielsa will be viewed with a little bit of distance. With that being said, why not check out here and see what I said at the time about Bielsa's departure. Good luck, Leeds and Burnley fans. It's going to be a long afternoon on Sunday.